What do you mean the buyer's entitled to his earnest money back because of the appraisal? I'm not going to do the repairs that appraiser said. The appraiser has the sale price of the house that matches the contract. Hi, everybody. Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors and director of the Real Estate Academy of America. Today's video tip has to do with an appraisal that comes back subject to repairs. And what does all of that mean? So basically speaking, what is an appraisal? Well, an appraisal is an evaluation of a property done by a third-party independent appraiser. If there's a buyer paying cash, they can have an appraisal done, but most likely when a buyer is getting a loan, they are required to have an appraisal. Why? Well, the lender is using the house as collateral for the loan should that buyer not pay the lender back. And if the house goes into foreclosure, the lender gets the house back, and they need to know that if they have to foreclose on the house and put it on the market and sell it, will they be able to make enough money from them selling it to recoup their losses on the money they loaned to the buyer who went into foreclosure? So an appraisal is done by a third-party appraiser to give the lender a sense of value of the collateral that they are getting for the money they are lending out to the borrower. If you get an appraisal back that it might have the dollar amount that the property appraises, and the dollar amount or the value of the house matches the sale price of the contract. However, if it states on the appraisal that it is subject to repairs, if the appraisal it lists all those repairs, then that dollar amount that it has is not a valuation of the property in its current condition. That would be a valuation based on what the home would be worth if whatever those issues that the appraiser notes are fixed. So in our contracts, where do we find all this? Well, in the Georgia Association of Realtors contracts, the appraisal contingency is included in the loan contingency exhibits themselves. So in the conventional loan contingency exhibit, it's Form F404, conventional loan contingency exhibit, and it does have the appraisal contingency paragraph. In that form, it's paragraph number 13, and it does say that the agreement is subject to the following appraisal contingency. And there's a lot more information in here, but basically it states that the property must appraise for not less than the purchase price of the property. Again, you listing agents, what you need to make sure your sellers understand is even if the property appraises for that sale price, if it is subject to repairs, that price is only met with those repairs being completed. In the RE forms, the appraisal contingency for a conventional loan is included in the actual purchase and sale agreement itself. Now, for a government insured loan, so before I move on to those, that would mean that if the appraisal comes back, it has the sale price of the house, but it does have subject to these repairs, and the seller is not willing to do those repairs, the buyer may terminate and they would get their earnest money back by not meeting the appraisal contingency. There are very specific time frames that you need to look through in the contract package, but I just wanted to let you know that. Now, in a government-insured loan, an FHA or VA-insured loan, these repair issues are the amount of money to pay to repair any issues that should come across in the appraisal by the appraiser. Those are pre-negotiated up front in the offer, in the binding contract. So in the GAR, FHA, and VA loan contingency exhibits, FHA is 407. It's the same for the VA. There is a paragraph that says repairs required in FHA commitment. And it says any repairs required in the FHA commitment, which means appraisal, shall be completed and paid for by, and you negotiate buyer or seller prior to closing, provided those repairs do not exceed, there's a fill in the blank, and the buyer and the seller negotiate that dollar amount in total costs. It goes on to say in the Georgia Association of Realtors FHA and VA loan contingency exhibit that should the repairs cost more than what is negotiated on those exhibits, the seller has to go get a third-party estimate of the repairs, sends that to the buyer. Buyer and seller decide who's going to pay the overage of what was already negotiated on that exhibit. And if they can't come to terms, the contract terminates and the buyer would get their earnest money back. Again, there are very specific timeframes and notices that are all spelled out on those exhibits. Same is true in the RE forms. In the FHA exhibit, which is a separate exhibit, that is all spelled out. One more thing about an FHA and VA appraisal. The time frame for the appraisal contingency goes through the closing date of the contract. And it's a little tricky because in an FHA, if a buyer is getting an FHA or VA insured loan, it's not called an appraisal contingency. What do they call it? Yes, you got it. It is the amendatory clause, which does go on to say that the property must be valued by the FHA or by the VA not to exceed. And in essence, it is the same as an appraisal contingency, just a little bit different wording. And there are a few more people that have their hands in that aspect of the appraisal. I'd love to hear your comments about appraisal contingencies. What's going on in this market right now? Are your properties appraising for sale price? Are you having any issues? Comment below. Thank you all so much for watching. Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, satisfying your needs with service, innovation, and education. Bye. If you like that video, check out the one here. If you like the content on this entire channel, please click here to subscribe. I try to take even the most complicated of real estate situations and make them crystal clear. See what I did there? Real estate made crystal clear. Thank you guys so much for watching.